Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel. I'm not saying I told you so out of any sense of, haha, let me laugh at your pain. I'm saying I told you so. But out of just frustration and what more needs to happen for people to continue to do further damage to Star Wars by supporting Disney Star Wars, by supporting The Mandalorian. Even this article that we're going to go through, this article by Bounding into Comics, it's, even now, Favreau's flat out said these things, even now people are already making their videos, I know, are already constructing their comments in the thread of this one, trying to explain this away. No, it's fine, everything's fine, don't be critical of Mandalorian, it's all fine, everything's fine here. Guys, no, I've been saying this from the start. Let me read the article first, and then I'll do some commentary, because people are coming to the video. They want to hear what the article says. So let's look at the article. Alright, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I will get to the meat of it, to the thing that people want to know. So, in a recent interview with Writers Guild of America, Favreau opened up about the show, how it came about, and his writing process going forward. The interview peels back the curtain on what Favreau had planned from the beginning when he first pitched the show to Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy. All right, right there, people are going to say, see, no, he pitched this to her, but now he's going to change things because he's the chosen one. No. What he pitched to her and how he plans to move the show forward into the future. Current plans still in action. So let's move along. He explained, yeah, I had the pitch for the concept, following the archetypes that influenced George Lucas, whether it was a Western, samurai film, World War II film, earlier space operas, cliffhangers, Flash Gordon. Looking at the films, the archetypes that influenced George was a way for us to make a smaller story that would work on the scale of the small screen and get back to the basics. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. That's good. You know, in any other context, that's the way to approach a good Star Wars story, especially a smaller scope. No argument here. Although I will say, how long did it take? It's just to the end of Season 2? How back to the basics are they when they're already trying to bounce off something to do with Thrawn, and Ahsoka is amazing, and all this kinds of stuff, galactic import. All these other characters brought in, you know, how small are they going to stay? But here's the point. My pitch was very simple at first, and Kathleen Kennedy was receptive to the ideas I was presenting, he added. All right, later in the interview, Favreau was asked about whether the return of Luke Skywalker, as seen in Season 2 finale, was always planned out. He answered no. The story unfolded as I wrote it. The Mandalorian inherits a great deal from existing Star Wars stories, and when I write, that context is always a consideration. Okay, existing Star Wars stories. Guys, that means sequel trilogy. But you might say, no, he's just talking about the other ones. No, okay, well, let's keep going then. Favreau then insinuated that he is indeed taking the sequel trilogy into consideration, saying it became clear that within the established continuity, certain things were likely to transpire. Duh. In a follow-up question, he would be specifically asked if he felt penned in narratively, given the sequel trilogy revealing Luke's future. He replied, "We have a tremendous amount of freedom afforded to us because of the gap in time between the films. Dave Filoni and I are in constant discussion regarding how each story choice is impacted by and would impact existing Star Wars material. They're working towards the new order. And if you don't believe me yet, I didn't even know this piece of information, so I'm going to drop this last year. I would be remiss without pointing out that even before The Mandalorian released, Favreau explained that the show would be exploring the origins of the First Order, which were introduced in the sequel trilogy. He stated also that could happen in the what could happen in the 30 years between celebrating the defeat of the Empire and then the First Order. You come in on Episode 7, the First Order are not just starting out, they're pretty far along. He knows he's working toward the First Order, folks. He knows he's working toward the sequel trilogy. That's never been lost on him. It's not changed, it's not changing now. But I can hear people already, no, there's a civil war. He's working right now to, he has to say this, but he can't say too much because, he's actually going to try and change things. I wish people would just stop and listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to how tenuous these arguments are. Why would you believe that? Because of a rumor? Just because, let's get to it really, it's because you desperately want to believe it. You desperately want to believe it. you need new Star Wars in your life. For some reason, people are just absolutely refusing to go and read the glorious EU that we have, all of the wonderful games, all of the comics, even before the EU, all the Marvel comics that came back in the day. All of the wonderful Star Wars content that no one's read every single bit of. But no, it's got to be something current, something new that I can geek out about it currently on all the social platforms and feel like I'm in a community, and they don't like Star Wars. I was having this discussion with Fan Man the other day. Fan Man, he said before he used to be a seminarian, actually, before he got married, and I'm getting a master's in theology right now, so we both, have had these metaphysics class and stuff like that, as Catholics, and he used some terminology according to, directing it to Star Wars. He said, people seem to like all of these fans who are just so desperate for new Star Wars content that they'll accept anything. They're a fan of the accidents, not the substance. In metaphysical terms, what that means is they're a fan of basically the form that Star Wars comes in. They just want to go and sit and hear the John Williams music. They just want to see the starships designs. They just want to hear the pew-pews, and they just want to see the general Star Wars fashion. That's enough to get them excited. The substance doesn't really matter. And it doesn't, because you've got the same people who are freaking out about the sequel trilogy are freaking out about The Mandalorian or Luke Skywalker's return. There's no difference. There's no difference other than this very vocal community that just insists that there's a civil war, and just hold on to your seats, folks. It's going to happen. The sequel trilogy is getting retconned. It's not. And here's the thing: if there ever was a chance that the sequel trilogy could have been retconned by The Mandalorian, just to say, for the sake of argument, let's say that there was a chance at one time. That chance is blown away now because people flipped out and gave The Mandalorian their unconditional support. Don't think for a second that the Disney shareholders, when they see all of this support, when they see the money coming in, the ratings and all of that coming up, don't think for a second that they're going to go with their magnifying glasses and say, but I see that support only came because people thought it was going to retcon the sequel trilogy, and you haven't done that, so you've got something to answer for, Kathleen Kennedy and Disney. Come on, get over it. No. They're going to see the ratings, they're going to see the support online, the money, they're going to think, great job, Kathleen Kennedy, great job, Lucasfilm, keep doing what you do. That's awesome. Kathleen Kennedy, and I say her because she's like the visible figurehead, but it's not just Kathleen Kennedy. If she's fired tomorrow, don't think things are suddenly going to change at Lucasfilms. No. She's got people programmed underneath her. The agenda is so far embedded in Lucasfilms, at least 10 years would have to go by with a lot of job changes for anything to change, and that's a very conservative estimate. So she is thrilled. She could not be happier that people are writing their mean comments about Kathleen Kennedy, and they're posting their videos saying, sources say, guys, there's a civil war going on, and she's really losing power. All of that just brings people in to support The Mandalorian. Supporting The Mandalorian is supporting Disney Star Wars, and supporting Disney Star Wars is supporting Kathleen Kennedy and her agenda that's been in place long before The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, all of that nonsense. Favreau and Filoni are not the chosen ones. Favreau himself is an incredible storyteller. I will be the first to admit that. The man's really, really good at what he does. Filoni's not a bad storyteller. He's nowhere near the caliber people try to proclaim him as. I pointed that out when I've done honest reviews of, say, Star Wars Rebels, for example, and pointed out the limited types of characters that he can write or preside over and such. It's not about, does The Mandalorian stink in quality as a show? It's never been what this is about. It's about supporting The Mandalorian is supporting Disney Star Wars and keeping it around. They love the fact that you think there's a civil war. They love the fact that you think that the sequel trilogy is going to be retconned, because you've just given them your support for something they're never going to do, but people are so desperate to hope for it, and then people are making their videos about it and cashing in on the YouTube revenue from the rumors and people's hope. They've got you guys. They've got you. I have been shamed about this like you would not believe. People desperately trying to get me to either get on board with The Mandalorian or at least shut up and stop criticizing it because people are trying to enjoy it. What am I doing? On my own YouTube channel or my own Facebook group, this is where I say these things. People can't handle it. They do not like it. I've been called negative. You're just being negative. You like to be negative. You're so nihilistic. What happened to you, Prof? You used to be cool, blah, blah, blah. I've heard these arguments ever since I started criticizing Aquaman or Shazam or the Joker. It's all old news. You're not telling me anything I haven't heard before. Everybody's on board when I'm criticizing stuff that they don't like. as soon as I bring that same critical thinking and same scope onto something that they've just decided that they want to give a free pass, all of a sudden, Prof is the bad guy. No, guys, I've lost friends over this. It's unreal. Not because of me shutting anybody out, because people just literally didn't want to spend time with me anymore because I wouldn't get on board about The Mandalorian. That kind of religious almost fervor about something is not, it's not healthy for anybody, but it should be a clue that it's indicative of something that's not true, guys. There are 4 lights. Stop trying to insist and make sure that everybody else who dares speak about the subject confirms your desperately hoped for illusion that there are 3 lights. It's not. It's not going to happen. Now, last thing I'll say about this is that I don't think Disney's happy at all that this news slipped, or that Favreau slipped with this little bit, or that it's being contextualized like this. So, as I said, YouTubers are already starting to make their videos how, this doesn't mean anything, guys, the Civil War's still happening, it doesn't mean anything. People are already starting to make those videos to spin this around, to something to fit their narrative. But Disney, look for there to be some sort of new release of information, either from Favreau directly or from somebody else. There's going to be some new little release of information to try to throw people off this scent, to try and give people hope that Star Wars, is going to be fixed and the sequel trilogy's gone. They won't come right out and say that. They'll give you a little bit of hope. They will give you a little bit of something because they want you to continue to think that. You're supporting them when you support The Mandalorian. Support for The Mandalorian is support for Kathleen Kennedy, period. No other additions to that. No caveats. That's just the fact. So, hard truths to swallow, as they always are. As long as it's in the news, as long as it's current, no, I'm not going to stop. People are saying, we get it, Prof, we get it. Well, good. You get what kind of content I'm going to put out on my channel and have consistently put out for years now. If you don't like it, you know where to go. If you stick around, this is what you're going to hear. But this is the kind of shaming people have used to try and, get you to shut up and stop saying that. And I'm not beating any kind of dead horse. This is something that's still in the news, and as long as it's there, I'll continue to shine the critical light on it. So, if you really want true Star Wars stories, stick around for our EU book studies. We're supposed to have another Kenobi book study tonight, but Big Al's internet went down, so we're going to pick that up again next week. We're deciding right now what book we want to do after that, but we're going to continue with these Star Wars EU book studies, introducing people to this wonderful, glorious body of content. And the books ebb and flow in quality, not every single one's a masterpiece by any means. And there are some that, people can quite rightfully be rather critical of. But the spirit, I maintain that the spirit of the original trilogy is never betrayed in any of the books. Even Dark Empire, which I had to make my peace with. I'm going to do a video about that soon. But not a big Dark Empire fan myself. But I'm a fan of how it resonated throughout the universe. It's always true to the spirit of the original trilogy. That's where you go if you want more Star Wars stories. But that means maybe turning the TV off and having to open a book. Or at least playing the games and stuff like that. But, I've said all I can say. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Until next time, continue enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Find more Star Wars, true, good Star Wars EU content on my channel, as well as other stories of the aspirational hero, more aspirational recommendations coming soon, and gameplay throughs, all that good stuff. Until then, thanks for watching.